Which equation represents a line that is perpendicular to y equals 1/6 and passes through -8, -2? Well, first of all, since the equation is y equals 1/6, I believe that we need to have x equals. So we can narrow down our answers to x equals -2 and x equals -8. So I can look at this answer and go, well, the x value in my order pair is -8, so I believe that the answer is x equals -8. Now, Desmos can help. Typed in here is I have the y equals 1/6, so it's that purple line. It's really close to the x-axis, and I have that point -8, -2, and we want a perpendicular line. I have the other lines typed in, but look what happens. If we type in x equals -2, it doesn't go through that point -8, 2. So that is not our solution. If we go to x equals -8, that red line not only is perpendicular to the purple line, but it also goes through the point -8, -2. So we know that we are correct. If you have not used Desmos, additional help with Desmos, please set up a virtual meeting with me and we can work on Desmos. If we look at another particular question here, and when we look at this one, it represents a line that is perpendicular to the line FG. Well, I started a video a few minutes ago, and for whatever reason it did not record, so I have some stuff written down that I would like to show you to help you out with what you're working with in terms of perpendicular and parallel lines, which you've got to be able to see it. Earlier in a video I had those top ideas written down, but I'm going to add in the fact that slopes of parallel lines are the same. And you might need to pause the video to get it written down. I don't want to make the video too long. But parallel lines have the same slope, and perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. And in the program, Edmentum calls it negative reciprocals. And it's the same thing. But in case I say opposite reciprocals, you know what I mean. So if we look at this first one here, I just gave a couple of examples. If the slope is 1/10, then the reciprocal part means that we have to flip that fraction, and then we have to change the sign. That's the opposite part, or the negative part. Same thing on this next one here, if I scoot it up a little bit. If the slope is -2, then what I did is I wrote it over 1, because the reciprocal means that we have to flip that fraction, and then we have to change the sign. Since this was -2, this is +1/2. And then, well, we'll get back to our problem here for a minute, because what we want to do is we want to find the slope of this line. So what we're going to do is we're going to count. Rise over run is the slope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We rise 12, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I come back down here, 12 over 4 is what we came up with. Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I wrote it as 3 over 1, because we're going to have to find the opposite or negative reciprocal of that. And our perpendicular, by the way, this symbol right here is perpendicular. We flipped the 3 over 1 to 1/3, but we also had to change the sign to a negative. So once we do that with this particular problem, let's look and see what our answers or our options are. And there's only one particular answer that has a slope of -1/3, which is this one. Which equation represents the line that is perpendicular to y equals 2/5 x plus 1 and passes through the point -10, 20? So once again, what we need to identify here is, first of all, the fact that the slope of this line, trying to keep both of them on the screen and not doing well, but the slope of this line is 2/5. The equation's written in slope-intercept form. It's the number in front of the x called the coefficient, which means that our perpendicular slope, we're going to have to take the reciprocal. It's the opposite reciprocal. So we're going to flip that 5/2, and we need to change the sign. Since this term is positive, this term is going to be negative. So -5/2. So we pull this back here down so we can see the problem again. And we've got two choices. And let's start by typing in y equals 2/5 x plus 1 on the first line of Desmos. Then on the second line of Desmos, I typed in -10, 20. And then I have our two choices here. So the red line on screen here in Desmos is 2/5 x plus 1. I had to pinch it in so that we could see our blue point up here. There, a little bit better. And then when we look, here's our two options, because those two lines have -5/2 reciprocal. If we look at this line, notice that the green line does hit that point of the -10, 20. Just checking here, over here, it's perpendicular. That purple line is perpendicular, but it doesn't also go through that point -10, 20, which means that our answer is going to be the -5/2 x minus 5. If we go back to our question, -5x minus 5.